Hello and welcome to this episode of How to Be a Great GM, coming to you all the way from Japan. Now, I am in Tokyo and have stopped off at a shrine here in Akihabara district of Tokyo, Tech district. I've done some walking around. As you can tell, it's hot as blazes, having come from South Africa, which was in midwinter, sweat abounds. Now, what does this have to do with us? Well, this video, of course, is about Japan and stuff that I'm finding which inspires me as a GM. And one of the things that I've found is what you can see behind me. One of these stone-carved stones at the shrine. Now, my Japanese is 0, so I have no idea what this is saying. It's probably a warning saying you cannot take videos here. And of course, there's a beautiful ornate doorway leading to somewhere mysterious, which I will explore later. But what I liked about these stones, and you can see them behind me in the video as I poorly try and use them on my new selfie stick, is the idea of using stones or signposts and things in a medieval period. Now, it often doesn't come up necessarily in the types of adventures and things that we're doing, but ancient carved stones with different types of carving on them. Notice the neat carving at the bottom and then larger pieces of information inscribed in the stone, or just simple carvings and things commemorating events or thoughts or gods or whatever the case might be. So how can we add that as flavor? Well, quite simply, when you describe the arrival of your characters, your players' characters, at a location, you can say that they're these giant marking stones littered about the place and that they give you directions to certain areas. Make a language check or interpretation check to try and figure out what the hell they mean. That's an interesting thing, and it adds just a little bit of personalization, a little bit of flavor, whether it's stones that have got no particular shape to them, they just happen to be as they are, or whether the shape has some kind of meaning that strange and ignorant people just won't pick up on. It's something to think about. Now, I do apologize for the shakiness of this, the new selfie stick thing, plus heat, plus having climbed a set of stairs, which is always indicative of, well, certainly shrines in this area anyway, leads to rather poor camera work. This is a series of videos that we're going to hopefully glue together for you. So here we are looking at the curious stone carvings, which you can add flavor to your cities, and it's just a small detail which will make your game just that much better. Now we're talking shrines here in the heart of Tokyo, and if you can see the little shrine behind me, they're fairly beautiful affairs, but simple at the same time. A set of stairs leads up through a delicate garden to the space where one would kneel and give one's devotion. Now, there are some beautiful statues and things that abound as well, and it's something for you to think about the next time your players go to a city or some area where there is a potential for devotion and that kind of thing, and try and decide exactly how does it look, how does it feel. Now again, if one has a look, there's little pieces of paper that have been attached to the top of the archway. I wish I had a guide who could explain to me just what's going on here. As to what those are, one could assume they might be perhaps messages to the gods themselves, or some kind of peacemaking device of some kind where it seeks to entreat the gods for favor. Whatever the reason for it, it's an excellent little piece of detailing which you can add to your descriptions. As you step up to the shrine, you can see great big red columns on either side of this peaceful pathway, flanked by sphinx-like cat statues that have been decorated in bright gaudy colors. The shrine itself, with its pitched roof, has gold detailing around the sacred doors, which open only once every 300 years to reveal the remains of the saint inside. Now, that's not what's happening here. I have no idea what's happening here. I'm giving you an example of how you can use a little bit of detailing just to make your description that much richer, that much better. And if you notice, there's different shrines here, and they have quite different looks as well. And that's something to bear in mind too. We might come up with symbols for our gods, but do we come up with different colors and different looks? I hope you can see what's going on in there. This is a very green, kind of very peaceful color as opposed to that bright red one. Similar idea, but we've got no cats. We've still got those hanging pieces of paper, which can become a theme for a particular race. Maybe dwarves like to decorate with pieces of paper, or maybe it's the elves who prefer it. Either way, it's always about trying to make it as unique as possible to each particular type of culture. And I think going on these kind of trips, where you just explore and absorb and understand are really useful to you as a game master to include and to increase your vocabulary of descriptions of different types of experiences and things. It doesn't get more spectacular than this magnificent carving of a lion in front of this truly magnificent building, very decorated, lots of detailing that's just unbelievable. If I go back a little bit here, you can see just that beautiful roof structure, which is so unique to Asia. And I wonder if you can hear those drums in the background. Deep drums that boom out every now and again, but this magnificent carving of a lion protecting this rather large shrine or temple. Now you can imagine your adventure is now walking up to this rather beautiful structure to come and pay homage, or to perhaps seek resurrection for one of their companions who's fallen in battle. Either way, it's about describing the details, about describing what you can see, these large guarding statues, and of course, like any true great GM, if they insult the temple, these statues will come alive and of course rip their heads off. That's just what happens. Now I'm not going to go any further than this to the shrine, because these of course are still active, and that's fantastic that they are. But again, look at that detailing of gold. Any thief here would have a field day with the gold dressing and the offerings that get left behind. Great big paper lanterns hang from the doorway, and one can't help but get a sense of the reverence that is held for this place. Okay, just got some more information now to add to our repertoire. Those lions are called Kamenu. They are traditional guardians of the shrine, so we weren't far off in saying they'd attack anyone who shows disrespect. Now behind me is the archway which we spoke about earlier, the entrance to the shrines, known as the Torii or Tori. I'm not entirely sure on pronunciation. But basically they are the entrances to the shrines and considered to be symbols of each of the particular deities. So this is obviously on the inside, because you would walk up here, up the street behind me, and enter the shrine and through there. So again, just a nice little additional piece of information that one can throw in. And the more descriptors one can talk about in terms of a double-headed arch, or a lintel crosses it separated by a small join to the actual roof of the archway. Things like that just add in so much detail and just bring your world to life. So I'm here now at another shrine. That previous shrine I was at was a Shinto shrine. Now I'm at the shrine of Confucius, literally across the road from the other one. And this is very much in keeping with the idea, at least certainly what I had in my limited education, of a traditional Japanese style venue. We've got these, again, these beautiful roofing, large columns, this courtyard within where I could imagine some kind of traditional battle going on. I mean, who can't really? And the rest of the ground's very different from the other, where we had lots of manicured gardens. Here we are looking at dense jungle. There's our entrance arch again, but just thick foliage all around, much more natural, more in keeping with the environment. Now, given what I've seen of Japan, I'm assuming this is not poor maintenance, this is intentional. And if it had been anywhere else, perhaps it might just have been that no one cares anymore, but this is definitely a different type of description, and I'm not going to go too much further inside, but there's some detailing in here that I want to talk to you about. And particularly what I wanted to talk about is something that they've got in front of most of them, which I'm going to assume, again, I don't have a guide, so this is all based on what I'm seeing, but for the purposes of the video, it's actually not important as to the real reason as to what these things are. What's important is that we add it to our knowledge of being able to describe things, and that's these wooden boards behind me. They're inscribed with personal messages, and they hang everywhere, replete. I would imagine that these might be some kind of offering, perhaps, or some kind of prayer that's been cast into wood and now given here to the shrine to look after. And later on, I would imagine that the tenders of the shrine would come past, collect them up, and perhaps burn them in a sacred flame, throw them away, rub them clean and reuse them, I don't know. But again, it's just about adding. You see this board filled with prayers. Now that gives us an interesting adventure hook, doesn't it? Because we can have the adventurers walking past this wall of prayers, and one of them catches your eye because it's got the symbol of Nurgle upon it. and someone is asking for forgiveness for an act that they've done, or for protection from Nurgle, this becomes a great adventure opportunity. So I think in terms of this video, in terms of shrines and things, I'll see if I can find some more. But if not, I hope that this has been insightful in some way as to how we can use our holidays or our little trips away to different countries, or to even our own, to better your game, to improve your vocabulary, and to get a bit of a workout as you run around trying to film all these things. But if I find another shrine, this won't be the end. If it is the end, then I wish you and yours the happiest of gaming after you've hit the like button, the subscribe button, joined us on Patreon or on Facebook for a conversation. I wish you the happiest of gaming.